Do you find that when we sit down meditate, the mind goes all over places, but as soon as we engage some kind of bodily action, then we can find that the mind becomes less active. Do you know why? It's just like during the waking state, especially when we're busy with working, when we are busy with something, we distribute that energy into some different area other than the thinking mind. And that's why when we sit down, we close the five senses: the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the sensation, bodily sensation, leaving only the working mind. And that's why that we can see the mind is working all over places, can't stop. Halloween is coming. Lots of kids coming by. Disguise themselves in different kind of costumes. But as they come by the door, we give them candies and then they leave. Other kids come, same thing. The mind is same thing like that. It comes and goes, appears and disappears, just like Halloween kids. And you are the owner of the house who never leaves the house. So it doesn't matter what kind of costumes the kids wear, however they are, they come and go, just like thoughts and emotions. They come and go. A couple weeks ago, Daniel suggested me to talk about Atman. Is that right? Atman.
I don't remember.
Which is great. You don't remember anything, which is great.
Ned and Chris.
Atman. It was Daniel.
All right.
I'm quite sure of that. And I'm very lucky to have friends with different background in religions. Like Father Ed, a couple of blocks down on the roads, and Ranti Deva at the Veda Society temple. We shared a lot. Quite often often that we found a commonality, especially. So, when we're speaking about Atman, what is Atman? It is one of the kind. When we are speaking of one of the kind, then we are speaking of non-dual. Can we find any kind of relation to Atman? Can we assimilate what Atman likes? No such a thing. Because Atman is not an object to experience. We experience, when we're talking about experiences, we're talking about the knowing and the objects, any kind of objects, through the six sense doors. And Atman is not one of those kind. And so we cannot relate Atman to any experience through the six sense doors at all. Enlightenment is something rather kind of simple, that one recognizes Atman. Atman is not somewhere to be found. It's always available 24 hours a day. But we have to realize it. And Atman is just another name of the pure consciousness. Just like that in Buddhism we have the Buddha nature, the name. The reason is that it doesn't matter what kind of name, which it refers to knowing. In Zen tradition, this is rather kind of bold language. A student came to a Zen master, asked him, "What is the Buddha nature?" And the Zen master replied, "A piece of shit." So Atman, Buddha nature, piece of shit, they all refer to the pure consciousness. It doesn't matter what name it is, because it has no name. It has no form. It has no boundaries, no colors, no shape. Whatever you relate it to your experience through the sixth sense door, it is not it. But it is there. It is there. If you can find an empty space within your mind, then right there is the Atman. Trust me on that one. If you can find an empty space, just like 1, 2, the 1 right here, the 2 right here, there is a space. Then that space is Atman. Probably kind of easy, huh? But it is not. Because we used to identify ourselves to a mental object as well as physical objects. And immediately after each experience, there is a sense of I come in. Oh, I experience it. Instead of there is only experience. Going back to your sensations. Right now, just explore your whole body with sensations. When there is nothing else interpreted with the sensation as such, and such, then right there's an Atman. Let's do this one. We're gonna do a neti process. Am I this? Neti means no. Am I that? Neti. Am I such? Neti. So, am I not of this, that, such? Then what I am? Neti. So you mean I am nothing? Neti. You come to that bottom ground. There's nothing else for you to explain anymore. The mind stopped. Complete stop. Then right there, the Atman. Right there, the pure consciousness. Or we can do the process of negations, such a thing like whatever you can experience of, then that's not it. And then you can do the negation that, okay, this I can experience, then that's not it, put it aside. I can experience this, then that's not it, put it aside. Until that you find that there is nothing to experience anymore, but yet there is something right there, then it's Atman, then it's consciousness. This is the ground of all beings. The best of the best is that we come to conclusion of silence. Because there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to relate about Atman. But because of the concession of the language. So we have to borrow that skillful means to talk about something which is undescribable. whatever we are experiencing right now, it is objects. An object and consciousness, the pure consciousness, is something that inseparable. You cannot separate them. Just like that, when we watch movies on your iPhone, on your iPad, you have a movie, the foreground, and then you have the background of the screen. Can you plug the movie out of your background? No, you cannot. They all simultaneously together, making this whole session being, making this a conscious, alive being. So in such a way of speaking, then the door to enter the Atman is whatever we experience. Right there is the Atman. But we have to pay attention a little bit. Paying attention going backward instead of going forward. If we keep going forward, we never understand, we never find out what Atman is. We have to go backward. And from backward, we investigate, we dissect the process of the whole appearance and disappearance within the Atman. Then we can find out, oh, this is it. This is Atman. This is pure consciousness. It's rather kind of hard at first, but as we get used to it, and then we become understand more deeper the aspect of what is going on in this phenomena. That's what it is. That's what Atman is. And it's not only that I said that. My friend Rantideva said that. Father Ed, when I spoke to him, and he said that he have read Thomas Merton, then I know that I have a shot to talk to him. And I did, and we came to the same consensus that God is pervasive. God is not a form. God is something else. A couple of days ago, I watched the symposium of Dalai Lama with scientists. It doesn't matter what kind of questions from the perspective of science to the Dalai Lama. He always refers back to compassion. And this one has a relationship to the pure consciousness. The one who understood consciousness, the one who realized consciousness cannot go wrong. This is very important. Somehow, when we realized, when we are enlightened, the pure consciousness, we cannot do the wrong thing. It's always the right thing. And this is one of the specialty of the pure consciousness. We live in the century of technologies. I happen to come upon an MIT operation, brain operation, and this is very interesting. It's so interesting. They operated on a 75 years old lady who has troublesome with her motor ring hand because her hand keep like this. At first, they open the skull, and then they have a long needle. When you look at the needle, there's no way that you can let that needle to go into the brain, but they did. Up to some certain area that controls the motor of hand movement. They stop right there. Then they apply a small amount of electric, very small, a few milliamp or so. At first, they asked her to circle, to draw a circle, and her circle was scribbled like this. No, not yet. So they apply a little bit more. It's still like this. For a while, then she becomes straight round instead of scribble anymore. And then she can draw a straight line like this instead of wobbling. And she also wrote a word thank you on the board. To me, the experience of before and after. Now, remember the experience of the content. The content is before and after. The contents are differences. The contents are different, but the experience, the knowing is still the same. She knows that before the amount of electricity applied to some certain part of the brain, and that's why she couldn't draw a round circle perfectly. And after that, they applied that amount of electricity into her brain, and then she can be able to draw perfectly round. And the experience is that before and after, there is still experience, the same experience, but the content of the experiences are different. And what was that? The pure consciousness, never changed, never altered. Just like that, if you can remember you as 10 years old, way before, and you as right now, the experience is still the same. The age is different, but the experience, the knowledge, the pure consciousness is still the same. That's what we're heading for. That's what we try to recognize. And we all shared that experience. We all shared one pure consciousness because it's all pervasive. And like I said before, it has so many wonderful things in the pure consciousness, just like bliss or always doing the right things, such a thing like that. And I think that we can realize, we can enlighten with that pure consciousness. So, any question, sharing anything, please?
Well, it's interesting you answered my question before I asked it. This week I was wondering, can an enlightened being be an evil person? I guess you just said no.
I don't think so. It just steer direct to one direction. That's it. It cannot. And this is one of the specialty of the consciousness. It's a pure consciousness. Is that like Joseph Goldstein said that. Mindfulness or diploma is that mindfulness means love. Mindfulness means righteousness. It cannot go to different direction. It just once we realize that. And another thing is that I repeat it again. We're all related. When we realize that we're all related, it's not that individual differences here. No, somehow that we understand that our connections, just like that a mother who has a million children, and just like that, we're all related. It's just under one umbrella. We are all beneath under one umbrella, and we come. When I say the word "we come," then it becomes duality already. But I'm trying to use the example that we all a product, a byproduct of that pure consciousness. Let's say that pure consciousness is a God, mother of all, and we are the son and the daughter of that God, mother. This is not an abstract. Once you hit that, and then when you can see that, and once you can see that, you cannot hurt the other beings. You cannot. There's no way. It's kind of yes.
I feel like I want to ask a question, and it probably appears to be a trap, because it probably is a trap. So, if I experience pure consciousness, and I'm in the state at the time, and you also experience pure consciousness at the state at the time, and there is a problem, let us say, someone's distraught or perhaps needs some compassion, wouldn't it be true that you or I might have different action? but then one action could be better than another action. You know, it's what I'm saying. Are we both embodying the same exact immutable consistency of consciousness, or do there are different flavors of it based upon our perspective at the time? If we're both in the river, but different spots of the river that are flowing. I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't know
Yes.
if that was a question or not, but
If we're running toward a strong person
yeah.
with the same purpose,
Yeah.
then it's okay. But remember that this is what I learned from my friend. Are we quantity or are we quality? And then he said, no, we are quantity, not the quality. And because of the quantity, so the degree of quantitative difference from each of us. So we approach the person, but it might be a different degree of help, different kind of help, different perspective of help. But for the better, for the sake of her being, so it's still a wholesome, act.
That makes sense. So
Yes.
it's you or I might have different quantities of consciousness. The quantity might
No. Now, consciousness is the quality, and we are the quantity, and the quantities varies.
yes, the degree maybe.
Yes, in the degree, and because of the quantities, we act differently.
Right. So if you're Zen master, I'm Zen master, someone's distraught, I say, dunk them in water, cold water, right? You might give a hug. Those are different actions.
Yes.
But both of them are equally in
Yes,
line with
yes,
consciousness
yes.
and compassion to some degree to help.
Yes. Inspiration, not inspiration. Something.
Intent?
Intention, different intention. I'm getting too old now. I know that word, but I cannot speak it out. So, anyway, motivation. Motivation, yes. We come the same approach, but different motivation, different kind of motivation. But overall, it is toward the wholesomeness.
It's aligned.
Yes. And as of right now too, and that's why we are not conscious. We're not pure consciousness, but we have some related. We have some relation to pure consciousness, and that's why that's some hard question like that. Okay, if there is one consciousness, then how can I not read your mind? How can you not read his mind?
Exactly.
Yes. But just because of each individual is a quantity, it's not a quality yet. And one more thing is that as of right now, we cocoon ourselves, even though that we understand, even though that we're heading toward the right direction, but we still have a cocoon. We have not broken, the layer of the cocoon yet, and that's why, if we actually can, shatter the cocoon already, you shatter your cocoon already, then our communication, like telepathy, can be possible.
I thought I had you there. You got it. That makes sense.
Thank you. Yes.
Why might you put them in cold water instead of giving them a hug?
Well, I mean, again, this is all hypothetical, but perhaps someone is depressed, lost in their thoughts, and needs a quick shot of cold water to refresh them, right? While the other person said, I think a hug will do it. And I think that if you go to that same person, I'm going to make this up, 2 days later, they might feel equally helped by either action, right? They might not like the first one, but they benefit. They might like the hug, and they benefit.
Sometimes a piece of chocolate would help too. Yeah,
Right.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Yes, please.
Can you talk about the difference between positive thinking and conditional happiness versus non-attachment to content?
Conditional happiness and
Positive thinking.
positive thinking.
Yeah.
Well, conditional happiness and positive thinking. Positive thinking comes from conditional happiness is that when we normally when we're hungry, if we eat the kind of food which we like, then it brings us happy. And that is conditional happiness. And the positive thinking is that in the Sutra, the Buddha has said something about 2 kinds of thoughts. If that thought that brings about wrong direction, then stop. If that thought brings about the right direction, then do it. That's what the Buddha said. So positive thinking is always something that a skillful means. I still do it now, even though that in Zen tradition, they don't like such a thing as skillful means. They go straight to the bottom ground that don't use any kind of skillful means, don't use any kind of means, just go straight. And we're not Zen masters, we're just students. So whatever whatever works for us, then we do it. And I still use the soft note, knowing, because right there it brings me back to the ground zero of pure consciousness. That is a positive thinking, a useful means, skillful means, like that. Daniel?
Well, for Joseph's question, so what do you mean? Maybe you could explain a little more what you mean by positive thinking and conditional happiness, because I'm not sure what those mean exactly.
Those two versus emptiness and non-attachment.
Right, but what is positive thinking? I mean, I know what the words kind of mean, but what does it mean to you? Really? What's an example?
Okay. Maybe this one, emptiness versus positive thinking,
Yes.
and non-attachment.
Yes.
It's just like that. It's just like that. In a situation that one needs help, and you're capable to, then you do it without attachment. Don't think that because you're a Zen master and then you don't do anything, it's all empty. Now, remember that we overlooked the word emptiness, and then we underlooked the word emptiness. If something needs to be done, do it instead, because of down to earth The one who realized the Atman, the one who realized the pure consciousness, they live very, very normal life. They're not something special, above the cloud or below the ground. No, it's not. They still act as normal. If one needs help, they do it without attachment. That is positive thinking. Just like that, I always use this metaphor. Someone broke into your house, threatened your loved one. What do? You're not telling you're a Zen master, you're not going to do anything, or you're going to kick the hell out of him. We do positive thing. We lean forward to the positive thinking, but without attachment. And more to that is that we do it with compassion. It happens a lot in temples, like cockroaches. The monks, especially the Theravada monks, they will not do anything at all because of the moralities, the precepts. So, who's going to do the job? I look around, okay, then it's me. But when I do it with compassion instead of doing it with hatred. This is two different mental states already. I do it because I have to. But when I do it with compassion. I used to have a house just like you guys, and it happened cockroaches too. Every night. It's true, it's me. I did this every night. Stay up a little bit late. I catch few of them and then put them outside. Few of them, put them outside. Few of them, put them outside until that there were no more cockroaches in the house. But that isn't for not so much of cockroaches in the house. I can do that, but it's so much you cannot do that. Then you have to use some means of killing. But it's not out of hate. It's out of compassion. And the law of karma is that what I do, what I kill, I pay. But I generate my compassion, then I'm going to harvest that. So one way is that I pay, but one way is that I gain. So that's what it is. And we experience this, this ordinary thing, in your household a lot too. But again, that when we touch the pure consciousness, everything we do is almost that it goes toward the wholesomeness. That's a positive thinking too. Anything else?
Okay, slightly different question or a variation of the other one. Is there a difference between conditional happiness versus the bliss of emptiness?
Okay. We all know what conditional happiness already.
I don't. Sorry.
Oh, okay. You feel boring sometimes?
Yes.
What do you do to relieve that boredomness?
I might do something.
Might do something, and that brings you to a better state, a better means of happiness. And that is conditional, because of you might do something in order to, and that is the conditional happiness, conditional something. Like when we're hungry, we eat. It relieves our hunger, and we're happy. That's conditional happiness.
All right.
Buy a fancy car.
Huh?
Buy a fancy car.
Yeah, Ferrari. and the unconditional, the emptiness, the unconditional one is that because it's all empty, and the happiness comes from that emptiness. It's all empty already. It doesn't depend on any kind of condition in order to be happy. And that is emptiness, and that is happy emptiness. And sometimes the mind tricks yourself into thinking, oh, emptiness is just another form. No, it's not. It's just empty. And whatever arises in evaluation of that emptiness, it's just thought process. That's all. Empty is empty. The zero is zero already. You cannot add in, you cannot subtract out, you cannot multiply it. It's still zero. And then happiness comes from that zero, means in unconditional happiness. It's kind of hard to understand, but it's very logical. Very logical. The zero, what else can you do with the zero in math? You cannot divide it, you cannot multiply or subtract or add in anything to the zero. It's still zero.
That's the benefit, right?
Yes.
Because if it was not null or zero, then if you add or subtract, it changes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole point, is
Yes.
it's unchangeable.
Unchangeable.
You get cancer, you're so happy.
Yes,
You get
yes.
this, you're so happy. It's unaffected by.
Yes, and that's what consciousness is. That's what pure consciousness is. If one can be with that pure consciousness, then it becomes, unconditional happiness, something like that.
So I just want to connect the dots. Realizing emptiness means enlightenment, and a natural outpouring of enlightenment is wholesome actions and right actions.
Yes, and happy, bliss.
Yes.
Yes. But realize now, remember, all of them went the same thing, experienced the same thing, from realization to complete realization requires quite some time. Sometimes it takes 40 years, 50 years, lifetimes, sometimes, many lifetimes. It's not that one shot of realization and then we clear out all of our demeanors. No, it's not like that. For many years, our unwholesomeness we created for so many years, and then one shot of enlightenment, it will not wipe out such a thing. So it requires the same amount of time that we created the unwholesomeness, and that's why that it's not a one shot that you get it done. Yes, you understood what pure consciousness is, and then we work our way, we purify ourselves from there, because we have something concrete, we have something that to believe that, oh, this is it, there's nothing else. And right there, gradually, we purify to what, impurity within us. And once that there's no more impurities, then one is with consciousness as one and consciousness are one.
Agreed. I remember a Zen master said he gets annoyed when his students realize the state because he finds it distracting. Because it makes them, they get off their rhythm in their practice sometimes. It's like it's better to almost not experience it sometimes and have long practice and long degree than to touch it briefly once and then you chase it.
Yes.
He was saying.
Yes.
How did Siddhartha do it in 6 years? I've been trying for 14.
How many lifetimes that has he went through before the last lifetime to become the Buddha? So many lifetimes. So the 6 years is the austerity to study the concentration. It's not a wisdom. Remember that. The 6 years of austerity, he tried. Before that he went, before he went to austerity, he spent many years with different teachers to study concentration, and it wasn't it. So he thought that 6 years of austerity would help him to gain understand, to gain the wisdom, but it wasn't. It wasn't that too. Until that someday that he realized that the middle path, you could equate to the consciousness too, because of you're neither this nor that. So there's a middle way. And his 6 years, we are looking at only this lifetime, but it has been so many past lifetimes of his already. So it's not one lifetime. And we have many more years to come to, many lifetimes, if we believe that there is a rebirth.
Question. So I read a lot that, and you had a good example of when you feel suffering, or what they call suffering, you look for distraction to satisfy. So I can imagine if I'm sitting here and I'm distressed or angry or depressed, I look for, I grab for something to allay that feeling. You chase it, right? Which you should practice. You should try to examine. But I wrestle with, like, what is boredom? Because this frequently to me, I'll make breakfast in the morning, and my iPhone's right there. I pull it up and look at it, and it's 2 minutes for it to cook, and I'm like, oh, I'm so bored. But I don't feel afflicted. So what state of suffering is boredom?
It is one of a kind that we don't recognize it very often because of you suffer in some sort of mental suffering, like anger, like greed. You can feel it right away because it affected your body,
right. And
then you recognize it right away, as well as being so happy. You can feel it right away too. But the state of boredom is some kind of a neutral, and it's the state of latency.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect your body, and that's why you cannot detect it. Until that we have a sharp mind, we have a clear mind to see what's going on, then it's boredom. Yeah, a lot of that.
It's my worst. If I felt angry, I can work on it.
Yes.
I can focus on it.
Yes. Yes.
It's just, I don't find the joy in the sublime actions of the routine. I get bored very quickly.
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't know if
Yeah, then you can find that. But we learned, the mind learns a lot about that, and then it finds adjustment to cope with it, and to deal with it, and to deal with it. But again, that we have to be mindful of what's going on from within. Okay. The pure consciousness is pervasive, and we're son and daughter of that pure consciousness. May we attain that pure consciousness. The attainment is something that's not outside of ourselves. It's just that we recognize it, and we all can recognize it. Thank you.
Thank you.